6 weeks ago, the first YouTube message from the parish centered on the 23rd Psalm. We know that psalm speaks to us very powerfully, that the Lord is our shepherd and we shall not want. I'm sure you know how the rest of it goes. The still water and the green pastures, fear no evil, the table of plenty, the overflowing cup, daily goodness and mercy. Many of the Easter images surround that good shepherd, and we continue to hear them through the Gospels during Easter. We hear about the good shepherd, the sheep, the gate, the gatekeeper, the thieves, the bandits who are after the sheep. And the Gospels also speak of abundance. The image of the gate, however, is the image that drew my attention these last few days. In John's Gospel, Jesus says, "I am the gate." Now we know that gates open and close. Gates keep sheep in and they keep bandits out. Gates close to death, gates open to life. Jesus is the gate that encloses and protects what is of value. Jesus is the gate that opens to pastures of abundance, to opens to still waters in abundance, tables of abundance. I came, Jesus says, that they may have life and have it abundantly. I'm attracted to the gate because it fits what's happening in our world, in our country, in our state, and in our lives. I'm talking about reopening. When will we reopen? How will we do it? What will we take? Questions about reopening have been on every single one's mind. The president, the governor, certainly Dr. Fauci, business owners, hospital administrators. When and how? For some, the answer is very clear. For others, it's not so clear. Taken together, they don't tell us whether the gate should be opened or closed. They tell us that the gate swings both ways. Now, I suspect that you also have had questions of reopening in your head, and you probably have some thoughts on what answers are or should be about reopening, when and how we reopen. Whose voice do you listen to? Whose voice do you trust about reopening? Political leaders, medical experts, the press, social media? Whose lead do you follow? And where and when does Jesus, the gate, fit in? So today, I'm not talking about reopening the country, the economy, businesses, restaurants, or even St. Agnes or St. Brendan's. I worry that if we reopen the world around us before we reopen the life within us, we will find ourselves more closed tomorrow and next week and the last several weeks than we have during these past months. I worry that we will choose an economic life over an abundant life. And what will it profit us if we gain the whole world and forfeit our life? Matthew 16. So when I speak about reopening, I'm talking about reopening as an Easter question, as a question of faith. I'm talking about reopening our eyes, our ears, our hearts, our very lives. I'm talking about reopening ourselves to something new, something different, something unexpected. I'm talking about reopening to life, life abundant, not just for ourselves, but for all others, for everyone. So what does that mean for us today? Where is your life abundant? And in what ways is your life less than abundant? Now keep in mind that abundance is not something to do with what we possess or what we get. Abundance is a way of living, of being. It is a way that we relate to others. You see, the abundant life is not about quantity, wealth, success, approval, popularity, security, being number one, or any of the other things we often think it is. How many times have you gotten what you wanted, been what others had encouraged you to become, and rewarded for what you have become, only to discover your own emptiness, your own poverty, your own restlessness? You may have had it all, but you are not abundant. You are still restless. You see, the abundant life is a quality of life, not a quantity of stuff. It's about faith and hope and love. It is about goodness and mercy. It is more about compounding values than it is about compounding interest. The abundant life adds to, compounds, enhances our lives and the lives of others. It refuses to add pain to the world. It is the life that leads to life. Abundance is the love that leads to greater love. It is the joy that leads to joy, hope that leads to hope. It is the courage that leads to courage, kindness to greater deeds of kindness, generosity that leads to generosity. It is forgiveness that leads to forgiveness, and gratitude that leads to greater gratitude. It is about life bringing forth greater life. Abundance embraces the deep qualities and the values of Christian life, of our life. It is about those things that matter most and give your life meaning and purpose and value. That still small voice of the shepherd speaks to our hearts, and it opens up our hearts to others. So, what gate needs to be reopened? And what would that take? What gates need to be closed and remain closed? What if, as you and I face the questions of reopening, we were to listen to and to follow the still small voice of God? What would that look like? What would that mean in your life? What if each one of us decided to let the shepherd's voice guide our reopening? I think it might change us, our relationships, in our community, and even our world. That shepherd, that one who leads and guides and calls us each by name, that shepherd who opens and closes gates, that shepherd will not abandon, betray, or mislead us. Rather, that still small voice of God speaks to us of life, abundant life, abundant life. We are slowly reopening, but not to the restlessness of the past. May the voice of the shepherd quiet our hearts, and may we hear God's call to abundant living, to life and love and joy and hope and kindness and courage, to gratitude. May we hear that call to it is reopening in our lives so that we may truly follow the shepherd. Openness to God's plan for life, that is what we are called to open ourselves to God's plan for the fullness of life. The Lord is our shepherd, and we shall not be in want. Our talented musical ministry of Joey and Mary Catherine Izzo will now perform a reflective piece called Restless. Thank you.
You dwell in the songs that we are singing, rising to the heavens, rising to your heart, our praises filling up the space.